Hey everybody, this is George Strezo from FFM Music, and today I'm going to share 3 useful tips when making an orchestration for a recording process. So the first one is obviously articulation. That's one of the most important things when it comes to recording live musicians, because we always need to think when we get to the recording stage and when we have the orchestra all lined up, already tuned, ready for the conductor to give them the sign to start playing. They're sight reading the music, they're singing it for the first time. And often we composers, we already have the music in our head. We have listened to it multiple times throughout months, weeks, even years sometimes. But the musicians, they don't know the music. They are seeing it and hearing it for the first time. So it's very important that we write down the specific articulation for each of the instruments. So that's what I want to begin with. So here is a quick example of a simple phrase written down in 4 different ways. So the first one, when a musician sees it, they are going to perform this like this. Obviously, non-legato. The second example will be the third one, however, will be and the last one will be with shorts. We as composers and orchestrators know different ways and different types of writing down the music, and it gives us tons of options to choose from, tons of different sounds, and one melody can sound different depending on the way we write it down on the score sheet. Usually the conductor can always help, or the section leaders of the orchestra can always help with this, with the performance. But one of the most important things with the orchestra sitting on the stage is that the clock is ticking. So you need to be prepared, and you have to be thoroughly going through all the scores beforehand, so that you don't lose precious time with the conductor explaining to the musicians how they should perform the melody. It's also very important when you have a melody or a specific texture, musical texture, within different groups of the orchestra, strings, woodwinds, brass, and they're playing in unison or in octaves, and if they don't have the same articulation set and are not written in the same way, this could also provide with a lot of problems that the conductor need to fix during the recording. So if you do this beforehand on the pre-production side, then you're set. The second important thing when it comes to orchestration is to always think about not only about the musician, but also about the possibilities of the instrument. All those instruments are not like the piano. Most of the composers were like pianists. We have played the piano throughout our entire life. And for us, playing here is the same as playing here. But that's not the case when it comes to a solo oboe, for example, or a trumpet. So all the instruments have specific ranges, and depending on the range, it becomes either difficult for them to play, or it becomes harder for them to control the instrument or the human voice. So, for example, a soprano singing at the top range of the soprano, like here, an A, it will be very loud. You won't have that much of a text in there, and it will be much louder compared to an A an octave below. And if we get to an A even like 2 octaves below, then it will be a barely audible sound. So if you have written something for a soprano or a soprano section in the choir in this low register, you have to take into account that it cannot overpower the rest of the singers. The same thing can be applied for the orchestra. A flute in its lower range can barely be heard if there's a large tutti. At the same time, a piccolo at the highest range of the piccolo will always go through basically all the instruments in the orchestra. So this is very important. Also, when it comes down to the third tip that I'm going to say, and the third tip is about tonal balance and harmonic balance within the orchestra. So when it comes to orchestrating, we usually have melodic material and we also have a harmonic material. So the harmony needs to be thought out in such a way that no note from the chord gets too overpowering compared to the other ones. And in order to do so, we need to pay attention to where the instruments are located in their range. Because if they're for example, in their higher range and we need to play a very soft chord with a solo flute melody on top, it won't be soft because the instruments will sound dramatic. A cello in their highest range will always have this sort of a dramatic feel to it. And if we want to have a different approach, a different sound, this won't be possible to do. And also another thing that is also neglected oftentimes is the chords within the harmony and which of their notes should be used throughout the time. Because when we look vertically on a chord, we have the fifth, we have the tonic note, and we also have the third. So a simple C major will be like this. However, if we have a lot of thirds, which is the most unstable tone in this chord, because it can either be major or minor. So if we overuse the third, the chord will become unstable. And also, going back to the previous topic, if we don't control the instrument ranges and control the balance within the sounds of the instrument themselves, this can provide with a lot of problems in the harmony. So for this, I would suggest always thinking about doubling or tripling the tonic note, the main note, in this case the C, then the G, the fifth, and not overusing the third. And when you add this to the instruments playing in their comfortable range, then you can have this very warm and lush harmonic sound, which serves as a stable basis on which you can place the melody. So I hope this was useful to you, and till the next time, thank you for watching.